So moving right along, we're talking about modes, and we're coming up on Mixolydian, the Mixolydian mode. Mixolydian. Mixolydian, if we remember our memory device, is I do particularly like modes a lot. And we simply go to the M, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This is number 5. So we simply start on the 5th scale degree and of a scale, and we make the major scale otherwise. Okay, so let's go ahead and start on C. The 5th in C is G, so we have to write G major. We have to write C major starting on G. So we got G, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. No sharps or flats. Okay. Again, you can look at the whole step and half step pattern. Here's a whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, there we go. Half step. There's the half step and a whole step. Okay. So this is the Mixolydian scale with the half steps. Let's go look at the chords that go into it. If you were to make G, B, D, that is a major chord. So this is going to be major 1. A, C, E is still minor. B, D, F is diminished. So, oops, I'm used to writing diminished as 7ths. But this is diminished 3rd, a diminished 3 chord. C is still major, so that's okay. D is minor. We're on to 5, minor 5. There we go. We got a minor 6 here, a major 7, and finally a 1 chord. Okay, so these are the chords found in Mixolydian. Let's keep going. Let's figure out other ways to look at this scale. Okay. Normally G major would have this F sharp, right? You just go down 1 half step to F sharp from the tonic, from our root, get down to F sharp, count your order of sharps, that gives us fat, and we have F sharped. Okay. But you don't have this. So instead of thinking it with the whole step and half step pattern, maybe it would be easier to think of it like this. All you do is take your major scale and then lower the 7th, maybe like that. Okay, lower the 7th. So instead of this being sharped, it would be natural. If it were natural, if your 7th is natural in a different scale, not this one, but in a different major scale, if your 7th is natural already, you just go flat. Maybe I can do it this way. So sharp would go down to natural, natural would go down to flat, flat would go down to double flat, etc. Okay, and then double sharp is way up here. Okay, would go down to sharp. Okay, so this is how you lower something. If you do this, you'll get Mixolydian really easily. Just make your major scale and lower your 7th. Okay. The cool thing about Mixolydian, one of the reasons I like it so much, is because it doesn't have a leading tone. Remember, if we do have that, oops, let's go ahead and do that. If we do have the F sharp, we have that leading tone effect. We got this. If we're playing in G, leading tone, and back to the tonic. Okay, so this leading tone to tonic is a lot of gravity. It brings you right back to where you start. But if you don't have the F sharped, if you don't have your 7th natural, but you have a flat 7, if you will, you kind of lose that leading tone effect. Give a listen. Okay, so if you don't have that leading tone effect, it kind of ruins the gravity in this, and it loses a little bit of direction, and you're kind of wandering between the notes a little bit more than you usually would in a major scale. So it's kind of cool. I really like it. It gives you a little bit more freedom. I feel like there's not too much push and pull between the notes here. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at an example here. But first, oops, let's do that. Okay, but first let's change this to A Mixolydian. Okay, so one way to do that is to make A major. I'll show you a couple ways to do this. A major, A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp. G would be sharp, but we're lowering it, and then we got A. Okay, so this would be the 7th. It should be sharped, but we're lowering it, and we get G natural. Okay, so this is your A Mixolydian scale. Another way to do this would be to count the half steps, of course, but we're not going to do that. And then one more way is to, well, we already have, is to look at this one. We already have G major. All you have to do is go up a whole step from everything. So G plus a whole step, A plus a whole step, B plus a whole step, that kind of thing. Okay. Either way, any way you do this, you should get this answer as as A Mixolydian. Okay. So let's go ahead and move on to our example. Our example is one of my favorite pieces of all time. It's called The Southern Cross by Crosby, Stills and Nash. Sorry about that. The Crosby, Stills and Nash. if you want to analyze chords, you can, but the chords are right here. And if you want to play guitar along with it, you can play your chords right here. Okay, so this sheet music is very friendly. First off, you might notice that we're in the key of A major or F sharp natural minor, which is totally okay. If we analyze the piece, maybe we'll find something else out. But let's go ahead and write A major, and for our case, I'll bring that A Mixolydian back. So let's go ahead and do this way: A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G, and A. Okay, and I'll put a sharp here just so we have I'll put a sharp on G just so we can pretend we have the major scale as well. Okay, maybe in parentheses. Okay, so as you first look at this, we have an A chord in the key of A. Totally okay, right? Works out okay. But then we have G major. Like, what the heck is G major doing there? If it was A major, we should have G sharp diminished. G sharp diminished. However, if it's a Mixolydian, we will have G major. Okay, so that's one sign, this natural sign right there. Now, another way of interpreting this, in fact, I've seen a couple renditions of this piece that actually ditches this G sharp. It actually gets rid of this G sharp, and therefore you don't need to say this is natural. If you're doing it in this case, then you're in the key of D, and this would simply be a 5 chord as A. G would be a 4 chord and going to 1. Now, why isn't it like this? Well, a couple reasons. One, we really like A because we're starting on A, and two, if we look at our melody, it starts on A. It starts on, if you're in the key of D, it starts on the 5th. But because if you look through the melody, it keeps focusing around that A, it's kind of good to assume the A is more important. Okay, so let's go ahead and keep doing this in the key of A Mixolydian. Oops. Uh-oh, wrong layer. Okay, let's back up. That's where I wanted to be anyway, or about here. Yeah, that works. Okay, so let's continue. Now we're on the right layer. Okay, so we have A major, we have G major, we have D major. We saw up here that's just a 1 going to a major 7, going to a major 4. Okay, so super simple. This is, if you want to do chord analysis, this is 1 major 7 and a 4 chord. Okay. In fact, it kind of repeats this for a while. This is the intro. This is the whole vamp through the entire first verse anyway. So it goes like this. I'll play here. Okay, and then we're here at this at the beginning of the verse where it actually starts. That was all intro. And then our verse starts with these notes. With the A here, A, and then it's just played in the piano below, A, C sharp. So it's focusing around A. We got this this beginning thing. Okay, and then it goes up to D, and then back to B, and then to A. Okay, so it's a lot about A. It's it goes up to the 4th scale degree, kind of peaks at the 4th scale degree. This is the 4th, and then it goes back to A. So it's really focusing around A. Okay, now this is where it gets a little weird, and also this is also where the music kind of ends for me. But we kind of want to finish this phrase, so bear with me here. We're gonna write one more note here, and it's an A. Okay, this is in the next measure on the next page, but we're not gonna go that far today. We're gonna go there today. Okay, just that far. Okay, so we have here. This is much the same thing as the beginning part here. It goes up to a C sharp, and then finally peaks at a D, and then it goes back down. But instead of going back down to A, it actually goes to the G sharp. And again, that's the note. This is the reason why it's a Mixolydian. This one right here, along with all the ones that we found in the accompaniment. But this is the reason why it's Mixolydian. If it was G sharp, then it would be A major, but it's not. And it sounds a little cooler. If you don't know, this piece is about someone that has found kind of salvation and being on their own in their own world, which I guess is a good way to describe Mixolydian anyway. So it's kind of a fitting scale in my mind anyway for this piece. Okay, so I'll play the melody here, or I'll even try singing. Bear with me. Town on the boat going to southern islands, sailing a reach before a following sea. Okay, so because this is G natural, you get a different sound. If this were in A major, if you're in the key of A major, this line right here would be, oh, I'm sorry, C sharp. Before, that's normally, okay? So just like that. And if you had the sharp, it would sound like this. Oh, I played it wrong again. Okay, so this part right here sounds a lot cooler with the flat seventh here versus if you had just the normal seventh. Okay, so this is a prime example of an A Mixolydian, or just in general, just a Mixolydian piece. Okay, I'll put a link for this song in the description, and I hope you enjoy the song as much as I do.